we can move on now to back to the defensive side of the ball.
Yep.
Asante Samuel Jr., cornerback, Florida State. Yes, Asante Samuel played for the Patriots, played for the Eagles. That's his dad, and his son's pretty special too. So he went to Florida State. He opted out last year. Do you have some details just about his height, weight, stuff like that?
Yeah, so Asante Samuel is 5'10", 180 pounds. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we met with him twice. Yeah, he was one of the guys we met
he
with
was
twice.
one of the guys that the Packers did meet with multiple times. So
yeah, so that means it must have gone well at least the first time.
They're interested, to say the least. Yeah.
And since the Packers just signed Kevin King again, we have cornerback listed as a tier 2 position, which means they'll play but won't start. But I wouldn't be surprised if he starts, maybe not week 1, but by the end of the season, if we got Asante Samuel Jr., I would not be surprised if it's him and Jair out there. What about you? Do you think he would start over Kevin King eventually, like this year?
I think at some point he probably would. I mean, obviously it depends, you know, is he –
I mean, we got Josh Jackson out of Iowa in the second round. He never turned out.
Yes, he did. But, yeah, I think he would honestly fit well. So – a couple of his strengths, I guess we can talk about. So he's a lot better in man than he is zone.
Yep.
And I mean, obviously teams run a lot of both, but I feel like we run more man than zone, just
we do,
generally speaking. And then another thing is he's pretty feisty. Like, he's a type of guy that has like the swagger that you like to see in a cornerback. Like, you know, he'll push a guy after the ball. He'll get in their face. He'll start celebrating.
I believe a scout actually said that he treats every ball in the air like it's going to be a fist fight with the wide receiver. I believe that's the word the scout
he's pretty
used.
Aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's what I like that. Like, I know one of our own corners does that, Jair Alexander. And obviously not every player that is feisty and aggressive is good, because
that's just not how it works.
There's the players that are a little too much of that and they get a lot of PIs. But I like him in that sense that, you know, like, he comes ready to play and he brings a certain level of energy that maybe some other guys don't have.
Also, when I was watching him, I noticed something that, like, if he does allow them to catch it, which is not very often, he tackles them right away. He's not letting them run down the field. Like, you'll see, it'll be like, catch down, you know? Like, he's on right away. And that was very impressive for me, because sometimes, I mean, if you watch last season, the Packers had trouble tackling, and it's very frustrating to watch when you're like, oh my gosh, just tackle him. But Asante Samuel Jr., he's tackling them right away. Yeah. And that's just exciting to watch. And then, as you said, like, he's very aggressive, but he's not drawing a ton of penalties. Like, he's aggressive in a good football way. He's not doing anything illegal. He's not holding very often. He's not getting too many PIs, but he wants that ball, you know?
Yeah. And then another thing I was going to mention too. So along with the tackling, like, there was a couple times where he'd like body slam a dude, like they'll catch it and they'll pick him up and like throw him down. And another thing was against Boston College. And do you know the running back who went to Boston College?
I do, A.J. Dillon.
Yes. So in the Boston College and Florida State game, they got into a couple of times where Asante Samuel had to tackle him, and he held pretty well against a dude that's obviously a lot bigger and heavier, taller, stronger, all of that. So he did a good job at actually, you know, like, against a guy who's way bigger than him, significantly bigger. He did a pretty good job of tackling. So I just wanted to say that out there as well. We can talk about a couple of the negatives. One being his ball skills aren't the best. So, like, plays on the ball.
He doesn't really watch the quarterback enough. He's so focused on who he's guarding. I think that's what they were saying about him. He kind of sometimes will take his eyes off the quarterback, and that's important to make a play on the ball, but he's more about making a play on the player he's guarding.
Yeah. I was more saying along the lines of, like, catching the ball. Like, it's not the most ideal when you see the ball, like, going right through his hands and stuff, which is, like, you know, not the best.
Yeah, no, we know all about dropped interceptions.
Yeah. I mean, I think every team, you know, there's a they play quarterback now.
The famous line, that's why they play defense.
exactly. And the other thing too was like maybe not the best zone corner, which I mean Packers obviously play zone and they play man, so there could be times where he's maybe not doing the best because it is zone. But it's not huge. And then also against the run, he's not the best. Like you said, I think he's what 5'10", like 185. So he's a little undersized. So like when he's getting
180.
180. So yeah, when he's getting blocked, he's not shedding blocks as well as you would hope. But again, it's not like a necessity to be a cornerback that can tackle.
Yeah, I don't see him starting week 1. So he'll have time to work with it. I really don't. Even if we get him, I think he'll start by the end of the season, but I still see Kevin King in there. Kevin King's a good player when he's healthy and when his mind's right, which hopefully it is. I mean, obviously, we've talked about it a billion times, how that playoff game, but I still see Kevin King getting the opportunity to go out there and start over this rookie. But I do see him working up to a starter late in the season, and he'll have to compete. It's not like in college where he just kind of has the job. He'll have to compete for the job, which is always a good thing when players have to earn it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think on Kevin King, that's a great point. Like throughout his career, he's really not been the healthiest dude. Like the first 2 years, he missed significant time. And the last couple of years, he has been healthy, but nothing's guaranteed, especially with injuries. Players get injured.
And he'll play injured sometimes. Like he's just not 100% very often.
Yeah. I think he's missed probably like at least half the games that he's supposed to start for us. So that would be huge. And then if him or Alexander go down, like our third piece or outside corner would probably be Josh Jackson. So, we're a little thin depth-wise on that. Shannon Sullivan's the slot. So I think he would be a good get. You would probably have to take him in the first round or trade up in the second to get him. But Asante Samuel Jr. would be awesome in green and gold.
If Alexander goes down, we're definitely going to hope we get someone early in this draft.
We're in trouble.
We will be in big trouble if Alexander goes down. He is the glue for that defense.
Much agreed.